Today, I'm going to be telling you about hanging with the cool kids and if it's worth it. If you want to hang with the popular kids in school, you want to become popular, is that something that you should strive for in life? What are some ways to do this? And what are some of the downfalls of fitting in with the cool kids, especially in high school? So if you're interested, make sure that you stay tuned here. I'm John Sonmez from BulldogMindset.com. If you're just joining me for the first time, go ahead and click that subscribe button down below because at this channel, I teach you how to go from the victim mindset to the Bulldog mindset. So I've got this email here from a high school student. And at first, I wasn't really going to respond to this, but then I thought, you know what? I think this is probably an issue for a lot of people, a lot of young people for sure. And I wanted to address this. A lot of you have issues where you're trying to, and sometimes you mean well, right? Because you're trying to follow the advice, especially some of the manly advice I give on this channel about becoming like an alpha male. And I actually don't even like to use that term so much because I think it's so misunderstood and the definition is so obscure. Okay. But what I want to do is I want to talk about, this issue, okay, this issue of fitting in and how it can actually be how you can do it and how you should not be doing it and the reasons why you should do that. He says here, "Dear Mr. John, my name is," and we'll blank that out here, "I'm 15 years old and need your help. I'm currently attending what you in America would call a high school, except it's your home too. You live along with the roomie. I'm writing you because my needs aren't being met. At the beginning of the year, I was attending another school, same concept, but nobody knew each other, so the social game in the beginning was a lot easier. The hierarchy hadn't been established yet, and everybody was just trying to make friends. Now, at the time, I was aware that my base of friends needed to be alpha males or in some shape or form to be superior to me in terms of taking leadership, entertaining a group of people, talking to girls, typical alpha male stuff. You should definitely strive to have friends and to fit into a social circle that is going to lift you in some way, you're going to look for the higher status, higher hierarchy people. But at the same time here, you don't want to do this for the wrong reason. And I'm going to talk about this a little bit later in this video. I'm not like 100% happy about the way this is phrased because I can see where this is going to go. Okay. And you just don't want to misinterpret this, right? Really, when I'm talking to guys, especially young guys and guys about becoming a man, what I really want to indicate to you guys is not to necessarily hang out with guys that are assholes, okay, but to hang out with other men who are acting like men. Okay. And sometimes as you're young, it's hard to know what that exactly is. Now, sometimes the only men are going to be, quote, bad men. They're going to be guys that are assholes. And so you're going to still need to figure out a way to interact with them and to associate with them without necessarily adopting all of the moral flaws that they may have. Okay, so that's a challenge. Okay, but you have to, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to fit into that group itself. It just means you have to be at the same hierarchy, right? So let me put it. Let me think of it this way. Okay, here's kind of a way to picture this, right? So suppose that there's this group of guys, okay, that is kind of the alpha males, the guys that are acting like men, okay, but they're really childish in the sense that they're very egotistical, they're kind of assholes, they're like picking on people, they're kind of being bullies and whatnot, and even though they're exhibiting dominant or masculine behavior, right, what we might say the bad side of masculinity, okay, that that doesn't mean that they're not masculine, right? They're male. So it doesn't mean that you have to necessarily become friends and become someone who's bullying other kids and be an asshole with them. It just means that you need to be at the same level where you can interact with them, okay? And so that might mean that you socialize with them to some degree. It might also mean that you come to odds with them, that you're willing to confront them, that you're the guy that stands up and says, hey, this is not cool, man. Like, lay off him, right? That you're able to operate at that level, right? That you're not going to allow yourself to be bullied, that you're able to, basically fit in with that group as far as the hierarchy goes, not necessarily with the behaviors and patterns. Okay, and this is a critical thing to understand in adopting in fitting in, is because you can be at the same level as someone by joining their group, okay, but you can also be at the same level by fighting their group, okay, by being able to stand up And it doesn't mean that you should be running around being a white knight and interfering with things that you don't need to be interfering with. But it does mean that you should be willing to be the kind of person that is sees themselves at that same level. Again, that's why I don't like when you use the word superior here. But let's move on here. He says, that was my mission, and soon enough I was part of a social circle of people who threw parties, fucked girls, and so on. I was so happy. I felt like a, quote, cool kid, because for the first time in my life, I was. Now, again, this is kind of problematic here, right? So again, I'm not saying, like, probably in high school, probably you should be hanging around to some degree the people that have the higher social circle, right? That throw parties, that fuck girls, and whatnot. Okay, that are somewhat cool, but at the same time, that doesn't make you cool. Okay, that's not what makes you cool. What makes you cool is being a person who is unafraid, who is uninhibited, okay, and is able to go after what they want in life, okay, and is able to have that kind of masculine drive to achieve what they want out of life, okay, to not be afraid, not be intimidated by these other people. Now, hanging out with them and whatnot, it's fine, but that doesn't make you cool. Where you see, you have to really separate that, because what's going to happen is you're gonna get sucked down into this group think if you do that, and what you're actually going to be is you're going to actually be quite beta, if to use that term, because you are a follower. You're not the leader, right? The alpha male of the pack, so to speak, it's the person who's organizing this, who's coming up with the ideas, and you're subjecting yourself. You're saying, okay, I'm below you. I'm hanging out with you. It's sort of like being someone's henchman. Like, you don't want to be the henchman, okay? You want to be the contender, right? It's better to be a rival and to go head to head with this alpha male being strong enough to be able to go head to head than it is to be a henchman who is an underling for this person. So it doesn't mean that you can't be part of the group. It doesn't mean that you can't fit in. It doesn't mean that these guys can't be your friends. But it means that you have to be careful that you're not sucking up, that you're not trying to earn the approval of some group. Okay, that you're fitting in because you're either at that level, or you're making it that it's not weird, that you're just assuming that you're at that level. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay, so I know this is a little bit confusing, but I just want to clear up some of these points here. So he says here, a couple of months into the year, me and all of my friends got kicked out for drinking at the school and being too rebellious in general. So again, see what happens here? This isn't cool. This is not good. This is like stupid shit. Like, why are you fucking drinking? You're 15 years old. I mean, I'm not saying that you can't have a drink every once in a while. I mean, technically it's illegal, but whatever, or just not smart. But I'm just saying, like, getting kicked out for drinking, like, this is not good. So you've become the cool kid, okay? But in reality, I would say you become a henchman to some cool kid, some guy who actually is an alpha male, okay? And look what has happened to you. Now you got kicked out of school, okay? You become a fucking idiot. Okay, you've become a jester, right? You're not actually cool. You're hanging with the cool kids, right? Just like, every single movie, right? Where there's a bully, right? That's the cool bully, right? Let's look at, I don't know, like Harry Potter, right? Remember Draco Malfoy or whatever? He had like two little henchmen guys, right? They were fucking idiots, okay? You could, and I'm trying to think of some other movies, but you see this all the time, right? What was that movie? The Christmas Story, right? And there was the one big bad kid that was super tall, and then he had his little henchman guy. Right? Do you want to be the fucking henchman? That's not actually cool, right? It's not actually alpha male. It's not actually what you want to be, right? It's better to be the nemesis of that guy, right? Again, it doesn't mean that you can't be friends. It doesn't mean you can't have alliances. It means that you have to become your own independent man in person, okay? And that's what's key, okay? Otherwise, you fall into this, and this is stupid shit. Right? Do you want to get kicked out of school? And like, this is not cool. Again, I'm not trying to be moralistic. I'm just saying this is just stupid. It doesn't make sense. You wouldn't do this on your own. So you're basically getting yourself into. And this is how you get into gangs and into the wrong crowd and all this shit, trying to look cool. Okay, you can be cool by your own virtue of making your own path, of not being afraid, not being intimidated, not by joining a pack of idiots. Okay. So I attend the school where I'm at now completely with the wrong expectations. My mindset at the time was, of course, everybody will talk to me. I only have to do 30 to 50% of the approaches. Boy, was I wrong. I quickly, within a couple of days, spotted the alpha males, and they did show interest in me, but only for a couple of days. Now thinking back, this was my shot, but I still believe I can make it better. But how? I don't even know where to start. A month went by, and the only friends I acquired were losers. Some time went by, and I felt like this weren't my place. I had to move up the social hierarchy. Okay, so it's good to want to move up the social hierarchy. I made up a system, because I'm a nerd, with a number of approaches, number of times I had to sit and eat dinner with them, and so on. I always had a conversation topic on the top of my mind and a joke ready up in my sleeve. Now I found this to work great on one-to-one basis. The last 2 months I've been trying to become friends with the most, quote, alpha male student. He's alpha in every way. He's a huge fucking guy. He's got a smoking hot girlfriend. He's intelligent as hell. Okay, so a couple of things here, and I'm gonna break this down a little bit further here. So here's the thing, okay, that I'm concerned with here. What you're doing here in this case is it's the same thing, okay, as trying to impress a girl by being needy. There's some strategy, some things that make sense about associating with people. If you can associate with people for a long enough amount of time, they will probably get to like you at some point, right? This is kind of a key, right? You could call it Stockholm syndrome is one famous instance of this, but basically that's the way kind of things work, right? Is we form alliances where if you take people and you put them together, they're gonna form groups and alliances and factions and whatnot. Okay, so that is okay from a strategic viewpoint. I don't have any problem with you going up and talking to people. That's good. That's brave, and you should be doing that. But what I do have a problem with is you feeling the need to entertain, to be a fucking jester and entertain people, and to have a topic of conversation on mind or a joke ready. No, just be. I hate to say the words "be yourself" because it's such lame advice, but be the best version of yourself. Be there and just go and talk with these people, and go have dinner. It's fine. And don't try to come off as cool. Don't try to come off as anything. The coolest you can be is to not give a fuck what the other person thinks, to actually just say what's on your mind, just to say what you think, and to not watch your words and not try to make the other person laugh and not try to entertain them and not try to suck up to them. Those are all needy behaviors, which will put you in a bad position overall. Okay, so let's move on here. Okay, I approach him regularly with jokes and conversations, and I made him laugh loud more times than I can count on my hands and toes put together. He doesn't approach me. When I make him laugh hard, he seems really interested in the moment, and maybe a couple hours later, but the next days it's like he doesn't even care about me. Okay, again, it's like you're being a little bitch trying to, get this girl to like you. It's not going to work like this. This is no good. This is needy behavior, right? This is not what you want to be. You want to be the exact opposite of this. The reason why he's not approaching you is because he sees you as a jester. Honestly, you're coming across as a jester. Your job is not to make him laugh. You want to be at that level. Okay, now again, maybe this guy is so much bigger than you and smarter than you and cooler than you, and you're not just going to be able to just declare yourself as at the top of the social hierarchy. But at the same time, you do not want to allow this person to dominate you in that way. And you're basically going up and taking the submissive role, which is not what you want to do in this case. Okay, what you should be doing is you should be talking to this person and just having normal conversations, and just he's not going to want, like, when you're seeking approval, why would he want to, like, you're showing yourself as lower value to this person, and so why would he want to start a conversation with you or want to, he doesn't care about your approval. He already has all your approval. Does that make sense? And so if you really want to test something, like if you really want to build like bonds with people, and I'm not necessarily suggesting this, but this is, you can take this how you will. One really good thing that will actually make someone more endeared to you is to insult them. Okay, and then to change your mind about them and to give them a compliment. If you really want to work someone as far as them wanting to seek approval from you, okay, maybe this is slightly on the darker side of things, but this is the way that human psychology works, and you can test this yourself by realizing the people that you've become the most infatuated or obsessed with were the people that didn't favorably look upon you at first, okay, that were maybe even mean or harsh to you, and then they were nice to you. Okay, so you can test that, right? So again, that's the same thing here. Is like, don't just come up and in this and make this guy laugh and whatnot. Maybe make some kind of a comment, be like, dude, like you're really like whatever. Pick out something like, I don't know, man. Like I don't know about those pants that you're wearing. It's like, I mean, you've got really good style and everything, but I don't know about those ones, man. Like, I don't know, right? And then, he's a little self-conscious, right? There you go. Now you're putting yourself in that position. He's like, "Fuck you, man. What are you talking about? You want to, well, whatever, right?" And he tries to start a fight with you, and you're like, "Dude, this like seriously, you're gonna get all ape shit over your pants? All right, well, fuck, whatever, And then you're just non-reactive. And if you want to start a fight with you, then just fight with him, right? I mean, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? Like, just be non-reactive, okay? And that might cost you something. And then later on, you actually say, oh, hey, you actually make it. He wears some other pair of pants or something. I'm using this, contrived example, but now you make it almost sound like it was like he changed for you. Right? And you're like, oh, good. See, I like that you're taking my advice because those look much better on you, right? And now, he's gonna be really fucking pissed off, but he's also gonna get that little jolt of approval, which is gonna make him want to get more approval from you. So again, I'm not necessarily suggesting that you have to do this, and there might be some price for this one. You might have to get your ass kicked, but that would be more effective than what you're doing. So what is my plan for you, right? Do you really want to become the best friends of this guy? Okay, now if you want to, I'm not necessarily saying that you can't do it, okay? But do it at a peer and equal level. Okay, don't do it at a suck up trying to impress this guy type of level. Again, this is the same advice that I would give you in courting a female. Okay, it would not work to just like show her how valuable of a guy you are. That's what every beta male, provider male is trying to do, is to buy flowers and gifts and candy and do favors for her and tell her how beautiful and nice she is, right? It's the same thing, right? Same exact principle here, because these principles just apply for life. Instead, what would you do if you're trying to attract the attention of a pretty female? Okay, one, you'd be direct, and you would just go up to her in the sense that, and I don't mean that you have to directly say what your interest is, but you would be direct in the sense that you would just go and talk to her. Okay, and you wouldn't treat her like she's something special. You would treat her like she's just a normal human being. Okay, and you wouldn't try and demonstrate your value in front of her. Okay, instead, what you would do is that you would indicate that subtly by your mannerisms, by your confidence, the way that you talk and what you talk about. Okay, and let her infer the rest of that. You would be somewhat bold and aggressive in your moves, and you would move things in the direction of the way that you would like the relationship to go. So if you would like to bring her home with you that night, you would be moving things in that direction with the flow of the conversation. If you would like to see her again sometime, or take her out, or have her go hiking with you or something, again, you would be moving things in that direction in a confident manner, and never capitulating, never putting yourself in a submissive position, and never putting yourself in the position where you have to earn her because she's more valuable. Instead, you would want to qualify her. You would want to make her answer questions that are somewhat qualifying in nature, where you would want her seeking after your approval, where you would be wanting to indicate your standards and saying that you don't just necessarily accept her, that you are interested in her, but you are still in the evaluation phase. And so you're trying to get to know her better to see if it is a match, not that you're automatically falling in love with her just because she's beautiful or anything like that. So the reason I'm using that in that example here is because it's the same thing, guys. Okay, if you want to attract a business partner, a male relationship, any of those things, it's the same exact thing here. There's some slight differences, obviously, because your goals are differently, unless you want to sleep with the guy, okay, which I'm staying out of that one. But the point is that you can't come off as needy, that you have to basically have that same kind of mentality as if you're picking up a girl, okay, that was attractive. You can't place them above you on a pedestal. You have to move the conversation in the direction that you want to, and you have to do some kind of valuation. And you have to have some kind of standards. So you should be approaching this guy, and you should be trying to, in some way evaluate him and asking questions that will cause him to qualify himself to you, and not necessarily giving the validation, taking away some of the validation, taking away some of the approval, and letting that person chase that from you. Okay, so sometimes it's going to mean disagreeing, right, with someone as well. A lot of times we can fall into the trap of being the yes man, when really the thing that can gain us the most respect is someone who will actually disagree with us. I know that some of my best friends and people who I associate with are people who aren't just fans that watch my YouTube videos and are like, oh, John, everything that you say is great. Okay. They're also not people that specifically are disagreeing with what I say so that they can show how smart they are. They're the people who are logically analyzing what I'm saying. And when they disagree with something that they're saying, they're not afraid to say it. They're saying, I don't know about that. That doesn't make sense to me. This, right. And we're having discussions, right? Because I see them as a peer. I don't see them as someone way below me or someone who's trying to fake being way above me. Okay. So it's just a couple of things to keep in mind here. And, watch it. You're going down the wrong road, my friend, because even though this is the classical bad road to go down of getting yourself into trouble and not actually being the cool kid who does that, right? Like thinking that these things are cool. I'm not one to moralistically preach at you. I'm not saying that you have to like walk the straight and narrow, okay? And I don't have any your morals or whatever your morals are. But what I'm saying is that this is not going to lead to the outcome that you want. And this is not making you a better man and improving your masculinity. A man goes after what he wants in life. He doesn't submit to other people. He doesn't put himself in a submissive position. Okay. He dominates himself first. Okay. His own issues. Okay. His own vices. He has self-control. And then he is able to exert a greater control on others, right? That you could call dominating, to be a dominant force in the world, simply because the best way to dominate other people, okay, if we can say that, is not to like try to force them. It's not try to be like come with it, it's to really be impervious to their thoughts about you. Okay, so that you don't care what they think. Honestly, that's the best way, because what happens is that if you are very purposeful in what you're saying, what you do, and your actions and your words, okay, then when other people try to influence you or they judge you, you don't care, right? And so they're more likely to follow that strong leadership. They see a person who goes after what they want. They see a person who is not influenced by other people, who's not afraid, who's not needy, and who's not trying to win the approval of other people. And that's the key there. So good luck, my friend, but make sure that you get on the right path there. Make sure that you are not just hanging with the cool kids to be quote cool, thinking that that's what's actually going to make you a man. It's not. All right, guys, that's all I got for you today. If you haven't already, click that subscribe button down below, become a Bulldog, and take the quiz if you haven't already. It'll be on the final closing screen here.